don't take my ballroom. President Trump not only driving libs straight up the wall, he's decorating them too. He gave Laura Ingraham a tour of his latest White House renovations. Watch.
So this is the Presidential Walk of Fame.
Now, whose idea was this?
My idea. Everything's my idea.
Everything's your idea.
So you take a vent that's supposed to be a piece of aluminum or steel, and the marble man said, I said, do you think you could book match a vent? He said, yeah, look at the other one over there, book match. But look at the quality of that job. I built many ballrooms and many buildings, and that's my greatest strength, actually. Might as well do this. So this room was in terrible shape. The walls weren't good. We took it, I restored it. I put in new chandeliers. They had lanterns that were terrible.
Disgusting mosquito-filled lanterns. Dana, you have spent more time in the White House than anyone. And you said you have a plan for him. What is that plan?
Well, my plan for him is that he run for mayor of New York in 2029. So maybe and bring some of this building capacity to New York. I mean, you know, Penn Station could really use it. I mean, lots of places could. So he's going to need a project. I think that New York City could use him.
Well, I think we could use him just about everywhere, considering the beauty of that lattice marble structure. So, Jesse, why does the White House need a ballroom?
To accommodate state dinners and to accommodate your friends. Think about it. If you can only accommodate about 137 people at a dinner inside, that means we're not invited. But when you expand the ballroom to accommodate 1,900 people, people like us on the periphery might get invited to state dinners. It's a natural thing. Everybody's always wanted it. Even the chief usher, longest serving of all time, has said, of course, every president considers this their house. And every president has complained they don't have a ballroom. So that's not even an issue. I just love how he doesn't give an F. This guy has been dodging assassinations, impeachments, felonies. And if he wants to talk about, look at the gold, Laura. Look at the book-matched vents, Laura. This is beautiful. I would love him to build some homes here around the city, maybe build some more power plants. We're going to get there. And as soon as we get there, that will officially be the golden age.
Well, we're going to need a lot more than power plants in order to save the world, Harold. But if you ask Democrats, the world is falling apart because of this ballroom. Eric Swalwell wants anyone running for president to sign a pledge that they will bulldoze it. Michelle Obama is personally aggrieved by it. But isn't it hypocritical? Because I have a feeling if Democrats had the same opportunity and someone was going to write a check for $250 million and put together a new Democrat ballroom, they would be all for it.
I don't know. I think it was a nice touch that the president did this with Laura, but I have to tell you, I'm not. You think about the age that first you bought your first home before the last 10 years before was somewhere between 20 and 32. That number is now up to 40 to 44. You think about young men and women who are working across the country who have jobs in big cities and medium-sized cities. They're still calling the bank of mom and dad to be helpful because they're struggling to make ends meet. I don't mind the ballroom, but I heard an interesting perspective when I was traveling in one of the airports, and someone, as they always do, recognized me from being on the 5 and said something nice. I stood there, and something came on the television about the ballroom, and comments were made, and most of the people, I think, were Fox fans, and I think some might have even been Republicans, saying, how is it that we have money to do this, but we don't have money to do other things? I do think at some point the president will have to answer some of those questions, and although the money came from private sources, I just think it's a hard thing to do. It's a beautiful and probably expensive project, and Jesse's probably right. It does probably mean at least you will be on the list.
I would have had to sit at the kids' table at the Queen's dinner. Sat downstairs in the map room.
Yeah. Oh, the indignity.
Embarrassing.
Now, speaking of the kids' table,
we had fun.
Greg, watching that footage with the
Check out
president.
that bust.
Thank you.
And also that thing of Abe Lincoln.
So seeing the contrast between Laura Ingraham and the president in terms of height differential, is he really 6'20"?
Yes, and you know what the thing is? When I see this, I go, you know what? He should be king. You know, what's great about Trump, no one in government has ever played this role before. You know, there's a conflict between the decision makers, you know, the elites, and the public who don't make the decisions, but they bear the brunt of the decision makers who never have to face the consequence of their decisions. The public didn't create COVID. They didn't invent cashless bail. They didn't foist upon us an asylum system that could be so easily gamed. They didn't open our borders and give away free stuff at the same time. We have a side, the decision makers, who treat the rest of us like a lab experiment. None of these things work in real life. They might work in theory, but we're the rats. So Trump is kind of like imagine if Trump wasn't around. He's the public defender. He's like the guy saying, enough, stop that stuff, it's bad. We call him the 80-20 guy, but he's the 80-20 guy because we're 80-20. You know, he's got such a necessary role right now, more than any other president. I don't know. I can't think of any president who's basically the face of the public to the elites to say, like, no, you can't do that. You can't put guys in women's sports. You got to shut down the border. We got criminals coming in. So what if he wants to build a ballroom? It's not our cash. My point is, he's our agent, and our agent is eccentric. Our agent likes to do fun things. But bottom line, he's our agent, not theirs. And you should cherish that you finally have an agent, right? Imagine when you didn't have an agent, Kennedy, what it was like.
Yeah.
Sitting on the street, begging for change.
Busking.
Busking.
She's had an
Shaking a
agent
little too
longer
much.
than all of us.
That's true.
741 years. The fastest is up next.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.